When we go within to listen and align ourselves with Spirit, we express the divine through our words and actions. About 18 years ago, I had a disagreement with someone. And it was one of those painful disagreements that sticks with you for a while. And it played on in a conversation in my head. Why did I say that? Could I have said that better? Oh, I didn't come across this way, or what are they going to think about this? And it was just this gnawing, unrelenting script in my head that was going on and on. It wouldn't let me rest. Anybody ever had one of those? Yeah, we just want to put it aside, right? This one was so powerful, it just wasn't going to go away. So I knew there was something in it for me. I knew that I had to hold on to this for a while until I could see it through. At the time, I happened to be going through a holistic health counseling program, and we had to design a class on a topic that we felt was important to us. And so with all of this going on in my mind, I thought, aha, I think there's a reason why this is happening. And so I chose to focus on the topic of finding our voice, speaking our truth. And it's by no accident that this topic came to me. In my profession, I work as a speech and language pathologist. So I work with barriers to communication on a physical and on a learning level. It's very important to me. It's very near and dear to my heart. I love my work. So this opportunity allowed me to go in and look at this field of communication from a spiritual perspective. And it's been life-changing for me, not only professionally, but personally, because these challenges kind of came to me fairly frequently. And over the last 14 years, I've continued to be drawn to this topic. And unity has been a big player in helping me to heal and overcome some of my own barriers in this area through the many Sunday talks I listen to, through the classes, through the books that we read, the 7-week programs, and most recently through the Course of Love. A huge shift in my understanding of communication, giving, receiving, openness, being the presence of the divine. Not only in our words and our actions, but by our mere presence. Owning this, taking this on, living this. That is the communication we're talking about today. Not just mere words, but being the divine in our presence. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. We're going to talk about this exchange of energy and some practices that I've found really helpful for me in my growth. And I'm hoping you'll find something that you might be able to take away from this as well. So I'd like to start this conversation talking about this 5th chakra, our energy center for communication. And I have a visual that I found that was a lovely replica of this energy center that extends from our throat, up through our mouth, our neck, our teeth, our tongue, our jaw. And it's in this center where our energies for communication, connection, creativity, timing, and our personal will is centered. I wish I could talk about all of these things, Creativity is one of my favorite topics, but I'm not going to do that today because we don't have a couple of hours, and I think you'll appreciate that. But we are going to focus on the communication part, because our communication is a portal through which we express our spirit to the world. And that expression, to me, is one of the most important things we can do. This fifth chakra is located between our fourth chakra, which is our heart chakra, where our deepest desires and our feelings are centered, and our sixth chakra, where our intuition, our intelligence, our wisdom. And so in this fifth chakra, right in between these spaces, we express. We make things happen in our lives. We show who we are. We express the divine. Sometimes things get a little imbalanced. And when they show up in this area, it's a lesson. It's perhaps a teaching that we can take in our growth towards communicating our truths. Some of the imbalances we experience may be titled hypo, right? Which might be not enough energy, kind of lacking in energy. Or hyper, maybe too much energy. Tone it down a little bit. I know for myself, for many, many years, sore throats, tonsillitis, strep throat were my weak spot. When I would get tired or when I would feel out of balance, this is where it would show up for me. Once I started delving into this topic, I've learned now to start looking at these symptoms, to start saying, what's going on? What's going on for me here? What truth is needing to be expressed? Who do I need to talk to? Where might I have some unfinished business? How am I using my will? Am I exerting my will enough to make something happen that I want? Or am I pushing my will too hard? So our bodies are beautifully wired to teach us and to take us. Where do we need to go? What would be beneficial to look at? As Leslie read in the Daily Word, she said, when we live in balance, we express as conduits. We share positive, uplifting energy, and we are a magnet for joy, beauty, and abundance. This communication, this expression, it's attractive. Truth is attractive. We have an inner barometer that draws us to it, kind of like fireflies or mosquitoes to me, maybe. There's something that happens that we resonate with truth and we're naturally drawn to it. Think about speakers that you love to listen to. Who inspires you? What words inspire you? What music do you just love to listen to? Those are messages that come because they vibrate. You're in sync with them. They make us feel peaceful inside. Our body responds with feeling peace. Our spirit responds with feeling peace, or maybe even some excitement or joy. When we hear the truth, we feel it when it lands within us. How many of you have sat in these chairs and somebody will say something and it's like they're speaking directly to you? It's like, how did they know that's exactly what I needed to hear right now? We send out what we need to hear and we receive what we need to hear. when we put ourselves in a place where we're fed spiritually. So not only do our words act to connect us and feed us, they also can act as magnets and attract to us exactly what we need. It's powerful, so we need to be conscious of what we're saying and put thought and care into the words we use. Many years ago, when Frank and I made the decision to buy the minivan, we had hit the point in our kids' lives where we were schlepping kids all around soccer teams and track meets and going here and there. We said, okay, I think it's time to get the minivan. I did all the research. We kind of decided which one we wanted with the consumer reports. We looked at our budget, and we were sitting in a cafe, and we said, okay, we're ready to do this. We'll start our search. Where we were sitting in this cafe was there was a parking spot literally right in front of us. And no sooner did we just say, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make this investment. A van, just the same one that we had decided on looking for, pulled up right in front of where we were sitting. Literally right in front of us. And the woman walked out, and I said to her, hey, we were just talking about this kind of van. How do you like your van? And she went, I love this van. It's been so great for us, but my second daughter just graduated from high school and we really don't need it anymore. I'm gonna be putting it for sale. Oh, we gotta talk to you. The next day, we bought the van. So, our words are powerful. Our intentions are powerful. How we frame them, how we speak them, it sets our lives in motion. How many of you thought at one point in time, I'd love to live somewhere beautiful. Someday, I'm going to live there. Or, this is the kind of lifestyle I want. And before you know it, something starts to change. You make a trip, you find the house, and now here we are, living in Grass Valley, Nevada City area, in this beautiful place that so many of us had at one point in time put the thought out, spoke the words, I want to relocate or I want to move, and here we are. So the world follows up on what we speak and what we say. A Course of Love teaches that we don't need to struggle. We struggle a lot. We struggle to make things happen. Frank spoke a few weeks ago about kind of like paddling upstream, right? Of course, in alignment with these great spiritual teachings, Course of Love says it's easy. Things flow. We don't need to struggle. We can move downstream. And when we're moving downstream, we feel the flow. Right? So we can use our words and we can align our intentions. When that happens, life unfolds. When we go within and align ourselves with Spirit, we express the divine through our words and actions. Sometimes it can take a lot of courage to do this. Sometimes it may not be easy for us, but we can do it. For various reasons, we struggle with this. Sometimes there are things that have happened in our childhood that have silenced our voice or our confidence in speaking. Sometimes we're fearful. We think, what are they going to think if I say this? How will other people feel? We put these layers in between us and others that may inhibit what we have to say. So we can ask for courage. We can ask to have those barriers removed. We can ask for ease. I ask for courage a lot. And it comes. When Billy was singing Joyously Evolving, confidence in speaking evolves. And it evolves with practice. As all of us know, any spiritual principle, right? It takes practice. We have to trust that we'll receive exactly the words that we need when we need them. We can ask for those words. We can ask Spirit to support us. We can place our conversations on an altar and see them unfolding there, especially those difficult, touchy ones. There's a practice of placing our hands over our hearts. And when we're communicating, we put our hands over our hearts. It shows our intention. Even if it's a challenging conversation, that I'm coming from my heart space. I'm listening with my heart open. We don't always remember to do this. I had a challenging conversation the other day where we were trying to solve a problem and figure out something that happened. Couldn't get there. We were seeing things very differently. And I got the hit to just pause for a moment, just pause. I thought, oh, do this, that's right. And what happened was the solution came to me that brought us together to look at the problem instead of having us look across each other and trying to solve it, each from a different side. Sometimes our words don't come out as we intend, and that's a wonderful opportunity for self-compassion. We can have do-overs. It's okay. We can say, let me try that again. Come back to the heart. We can't go wrong when we're aligned with our authentic self. We are speaking the truth. And when I say truth, it's with a capital T, when we're in alignment. I love this TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but she's a psychologist and she talks about stressful situations, stressful speaking situations. And she recommends a power pose where you stand like this for 2 minutes before a challenging conversation. And her research has shown that cortisol levels drop. Testosterone levels increase, which is confidence increases, stress decreases. So you can try this for 2 minutes and see how it feels. Guess what I did 2 minutes before this talk? That's what I was doing back into class. Hint, hint. Okay. So we've talked about speaking our truth. And ironically, sometimes we need to listen before we speak. It's that deep listening that can inform us. And for this, I think the best thing we can do, which we hear over and over and over again, is meditation. A practice of meditation is a practice in stilling our chatty minds. We have noise coming at us constantly. And so when we sit in meditation, we work to allow ourselves to hear that very quiet, still voice. That still voice is continuous. It's never absent. It's more a matter of silencing the noise around it to hear it. And when we meditate and we set time aside for silence, what we're doing is we're creating an energetic feeling inside of us, a resonance that allows spirit to allows us to be aware of spirit speaking. But not just when we're sitting at home in the quiet, but It's practice in accessing that space. When we're sitting in traffic and concerned, I'm not going to make it on time, I can go back to that space. When we're sitting in a contentious board meeting, we can go back. Sometimes I visualize myself sitting in my meditation chair. We go back to that place. Or when we're having to deal with a hungry, crying child, and we're like, what do I do? Okay, I'm starting to lose it. My patience, I'm trying to put together this piece of furniture from IKEA, I'm losing it, right? We can go back. That space. All those minutes, all those hours, all that time on the cushion, on the chair, sitting in the silence, prepares us for those moments. Because then we can hear that voice. And that voice usually speaks to us in very short sentences. For me, it's usually directives. Stop. Don't. Call so-and-so. Take a rest. Sit down. Listen. Spirit's voice is simple and clear. It doesn't get into a long story. If I start hearing blah, 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 that's usually not Spirit's voice to me. That's my chatter. That's my chatter. That's my busy mind. I had an experience in 1989. I was commuting from San Francisco to Oakland going to school. And I had, as a starving student, very little gas in my car, and I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to make it back across the bridge, but I said, I'm going to go for it. I think I've got enough. And I was on the on-ramp to get onto the Bay Bridge, and so clearly I heard a voice that said, don't get on the bridge. And I'm going, are you kidding me? I'm driving on the bridge, and it was no, don't get on the bridge. Put my car in reverse, I looked in my rearview mirror, and as quickly as I could, I went reverse down the on-ramp. I was like, I don't know why, I can't do this now, I'll go get the gas. So about 5 minutes later, I'm pulling into a gas station, and the Loma Prieta earthquake happened. And a portion of the bridge in the direction I was going collapsed. And so, that, for me, was an experience of the voice just coming in directly. And when we hear that voice, it's our job to listen. It's our job to listen. It may not make sense. A lot of times it doesn't. It may go against what we think is best. And we have to quiet our mind and trust. And if we ask for this voice to be present to us and guide us, our job is to respond to that voice and to not talk ourselves out of it. The more we listen, the more we'll hear. The more we'll hear. It's a practice that evolves over time. So, listening. It's a challenge. It can be a challenge. So when we listen, not only to ourselves, but listening to other people, Spirit speaks to us in many forms, a lot of times through other people. And so not only do we need to quiet our minds when we're sitting, but can we quiet our minds when we're conversing with other people? Can we quiet our minds enough to be receptive fully to what they have to say, without thinking ahead about what we want to say, and being open to, I might change my mind. Can I see something from this other person's perspective? So, when we go within and listen and align ourselves with Spirit, we express the divine through our words and actions. I'd like to take a few moments now for quiet reflection. And I'll ask you to reflect on what in your heart is wanting to be expressed? What truth in your life is ready to be told? Thank you, Spirit.